Hello, it's Phyllis Tody, Community Development Specialist, here with another edition of Paging Through the Past. We're looking at the 1940s now, which were growing years for the library. Of course, the world was recovering from war, and we also were building our collection and building the resources that we had to offer to the public. We were still located in City Hall near the fire department. And some of the things that I found interesting was they had a librarian, Mrs. Alma Huggins, and the library's part of the city budget was $3,700 for those years in the 1940s. So the other thing is they had these little handouts for people, books for boys and girls for 1948. It was a back and front kind of handout. And interestingly enough, out of all the books, we still have two in our collection. We have this one, which is called White Snow, Bright Snow, and we have another one called The Big Snow. But I looked through all the books on this list to see if some libraries still had them. A lot of them had one library that had them that you can get through Melcat. Some of them had no copies available. But there was one book that 48 libraries had, and it was called Daughter of the Mountain. And I thought that was really interesting that the one book from the 1948 collection had 48 libraries that had it. They also handed out things like rules and reasons for the East Lansing Public Library that had just a plethora of information about various things. One that I found interesting was there was no limit to the amount of books that you can check out. So right now we have a 50 book limit on ours, but we also, back then they only allowed children to have 3 books from the easy readers and picture books, and a family could only have a total of 6 books from those sections, where we don't specify that you have to only take a certain amount from the children's collection. And then also the fines were charged, which we are now a fine-free library, except for like the Express Collection, the Tool Library, things like that. But 2 cents a day was charged for overdue books, 1 cent for magazines, and back then they included Sundays and holidays in the fine accrual. So we've never done that. We've always had a break for when we weren't open. So interestingly enough, back then they were collecting 2 cents or 1 cent a day. So life will be changing in the 1950s, and I look forward to sharing some of those changes with you on next month's Paging Through the Past.